Okay, another Friday preview show ahead of another full card of Saturday Brechin Highland League action. We'll start today by talking about the big game for next Monday's Highland League Weekly, Rothes against Inverurie Locos. Two good sides?
I would say so, two good sides. I mean, Rothes probably just looking for that first win to really kick-start them. We've spoken before about maybe having lost one or two players and a couple of guys out and things, but you know when you've got players like Alan Pollock and Stephen Mackay on their side, Alan McKenzie as well, that you know they're always a threat. They're good, experienced Highland League players, and I mean, saying that, Inverurie I would imagine would fancy their chances of winning as well.
We talked a little bit about Stephen Mackay on Monday, and he's obviously one of these players. I think there'll be a lot of interest in the season to see how he gets on. Do you think he'll be able to play every game for Rothes? I mean, Saturday, yeah, but I know a lot of midweek games will come in.
Midweeks he'll struggle because of his work, because he's sort of in Manchester Monday to Thursday usually, so midweeks might be a wee bit of a problem for him. But in terms of Saturdays, I mean, we've said before, or I've said before, his fitness isn't in question either, so you would anticipate him having a big say in how Rothes get on this season.
First couple of games of the season, Inverurie, they've been okay, I suppose, but I mean, they're maybe still trying to find that attacking, you know, the real sort of 100% full bore attacking performance.
Maybe. I think you can look at it two ways. You could say they're maybe looking to just find that a wee bit more solidity defensively, because if you look at the 3 games they've played up at Clach, okay, they conceded a goal when they were 3-0 up, but in the grand scheme of things it doesn't, but you know, they've conceded a goal. Dice Juniors in the Aberdeenshire Cup, they won 2-1, and then last week against Banks of D they drew 1 each, so maybe just if they can start keeping clean sheets, it'll help, because I mean, being realistic, if you can't keep a clean sheet and you've got Robert Ward, Gary Wood, Fergus Alberts, Callum Dingwall, these sort of players on your side, you would fancy your chances of scoring a goal. So you know, if you obviously do that and keep a clean sheet, you win the game.
Brechin Formartine, Sophie, your team. I don't know, but it's a tester for Brechin. It's the first. Well, I mean, you know, Rothes difficult team, but the way Formartine played last weekend, 6-1 win, they've looked pretty good attacking wise. Formartine scoring a lot of goals. Do you think that this is the biggest challenge Brechin have faced in this early part of the season?
Yeah, I think, like we were kind of saying on Monday, that you know they've come up against 2 decent teams, and to have 2 wins at this point is really good. But I think, yeah, for considering the game that Formartine are on just now, coming off the back of a 6-1 win, albeit maybe a team against a team that they should have beaten, they'll have the momentum. I think Andy Kirk was saying afterwards they need to be more clinical, they need to be more ruthless, and you know, probably I think they will need to be like that on Saturday against Formartine. But it's an important one as well, I think, because considering the fixtures they've got coming up, you know, Bucky have obviously beaten Fraserburgh last weekend. Brechin have got them back to back on the 20th of August, and then a midweek fixture. So I think this Formartine game could really set the tone, in that if they win this, they go into those 2 games with the momentum, because they really do need it.
On the other hand, is this Formartine's chance to show in the league that they really should be considered title contenders after that sort of transitional season last season?
Yeah, I suppose potentially it is. I think Stuart Anderson sort of maybe tried to downplay that up to now, and his sort of thing would be to try and break into the top 4 and sort of he thinks last season's top 4 will be very strong again, and that if he could break into that, they'd be doing well. But I mean, if Formartine were to go and win at Glebe Park, I would say it's a bit of a statement of intent about what they're capable of. But to be fair, the caveat with that is, over the last however many years, nobody's ever doubted Formartine's ability, and you know, against any team on their day they've been capable of winning. But over a league season, there's usually been a spell where they haven't quite been consistent enough, and that's found them out. So, and you know, it wouldn't have, you'd probably start by making Brechin slight favourites, but I wouldn't say it would be a massive surprise to anyone if Formartine left Glebe Park with 3 points.
Banks of D host Huntly. 2 sides that I don't think will be overly happy with their starts so far. Huntly certainly won't be happy with their start, but Banks D, I think we're maybe expecting maybe a little bit more of a sort of blockbuster start from them in the Highland League, or some people would have been maybe expecting that.
Yeah, I think with Banks of D, some people sort of expected them to come in and it was sort of a case of just, they'll just blow everyone away. But I never, to be honest, thought that was going to happen. I mean, they're a good side, clearly, and they're very competitive. But I didn't think it was a situation where they were just going to come in and, romp past teams straight away. And to be fair, they haven't had an easy start, really. Nairn at home, who, although they haven't won yet, Nairn have done well and impressed me in their first couple of games. And Inverurie away, who again, another difficult side to play against. So you can't, will they be entirely happy? Probably no, because they're used to winning. But 2 points for the first 2 games, it's not a bad start by any means. Well, Huntly, I mean, it's like missed penalties and sendings off, and in the league fixtures anyway, it's kind of things have been going against them a wee bit. But I would like this. These are the sort of games as well for Huntly. I know they need the games against sides that have been around them. You need to make the most of as well, and they haven't done that the last 2 weeks. But these are the sort of games that are a big test for Huntly, because if you want to improve over the course of a season, you need to try and pick up points in these games as well.
Clark-na-Curran, Brora Rangers. Clark obviously won on Saturday. It's a Brora as well. They won despite not being at their best. This looks like a testing one for Brora, although it's one of the ones that's maybe closer to home for them.
Well, it's close to home for a lot of Brora's guys that are in Inverness. But the interesting thing for me here is, for all the praise Clark got at times last season, Jordan McDonald would be the first to admit in the 2 games that they played Brora last season, they never got close to them at all. They got beat 4-0 at Grant Street Park, and I think it was, they played quite well with 10 men in the return at Dudgeon Park, but I think they got beat 6 that day. So, again, if you're Clark, can they go and potentially take something out of the game, or sort of lay more of a glove on Brora, make it more competitive? Because, I mean, sometimes you get that. Obviously, certain teams just have the rub over other teams for a period of time, and maybe for Brora, Clark's been that team a wee bit that they just seem to keep finding a way to beat. So it'll be interesting to see what the outcome is there.
I suppose I'm interested to see as well, against a team like Brora, how Gary Warren gets on with all his class, all his experience. Because, will Clark be able to keep Brora at bay?
Well, this is it. The one thing you would maybe say with Gary at this stage of his career is pace, potentially a wee bit. Will he be against the likes of maybe an Andy McRae or a Mark Hugh and those sort of players? Will he be found out a wee bit? But then on the flip side, he's experienced in the way he can read the game, maybe not. But I do think it's nice to see as well. You've got Gary Warren for Clark, Josh Meekins for Brora, 2 guys who won the Scottish Cup with Caley Thistle. Guys from England who they came up to play for Caley Thistle, and they sort of, they've gone away and things, but they kind of fell in love with the Highlands and Inverness area, and they've been away and they've come back, and they now obviously do other things for their sort of full-time job, but they're still wanting to play football in the north of Scotland, and it's great, great to see them both still playing in the Highland League. Yeah,
we clearly rate it. Amazing that we've got to this stage without discussing either Fraserburgh or Buckie Thistle, and it's probably the longest we'll go this season, maybe. Fraserburgh against Wick, first of all. We talked on Monday about Wick struggling a little bit squad-wise, having to cobble together a squad with 4 trialists in it last weekend. You don't want to be going to Wellesley. You've got to, but it's a tough place to go, given that Fraserburgh also lost to Buckie Thistle and will be out to make that right as much as they can this weekend. It looks like a real challenging game for the Scorries.
It does, but I think without being too kind of glib or cliched, I think any time you've got to go and play Fraserburgh, you look and go, it's not. You don't really know. I don't think anybody really looks and goes, that's a pretty easy game for us. But I think the thing I always think with Wick is, if you look, you can speak about last week and players that were missing and this and that, but if you still look down their team, And you see names like Jack Henry, Jack Halliday, Richard McCaddy, Gordon McNabb, but still Ross Allen as well, you'd throw into that, are still quality and experience and abundance there. So Wick on their day, as we saw the first day of the season at Buckie, perhaps unlucky not to leave with a point. At least, you know, Wick have shown plenty of times before that they can cause a surprise here and there and give anyone a game.
Graham Stewart, Spider, wants Buckie Thistle to be ruthless. Sophie having overcome Fraserburgh last weekend. They don't want to drop points away at Lossiemouth. Do you think they will?
I don't think they will. I think they're probably favourites going into this game, but you know, like what Callum was saying on Monday, that win against Fraserburgh means nothing if they don't go on a run of form and they keep picking up points, and they will go into it as favourites. You know, we've seen what they did last season. They go on this, what was it, 27 game unbeaten run. They're probably more than capable of doing that again this season, but yeah, they just need to keep doing what they're doing and keep picking up points and setting the tone for the season.
For Lossie, given what happened against Devon Vale, I suppose Joe Russell will want to see his side compete as best they can in this one.
Aye, that would be the thing. I think they were disappointed really that maybe things was a bit too easy for Devon Vale last weekend, but it's not. If Buckie play like they're capable of, with the way they sort of knock the ball about in the middle of the park with Andy McCaskills, Kevin Fraser, Sam O'Kurtz, these sort of players, then it can be a tough afternoon as well playing against them, but we'll see, you never know, maybe it's just the sort of game that Lossie will rise to the occasion.
Intrigued by Nairn Forest, more so because Nairn have been quite impressive in the first 2 weeks of the season. Andy Gregg, obviously we know all about him, you know, brilliant player, former Highland League Player of the Year. Of course, of the teams we've discussed already, they're the kind of middle pack teams that would maybe aspire to more, to break in that top pack. Nairn have maybe made the best start towards doing that, would you agree?
Well, not really, to be honest with you,
No.
because if you look at the league table, Wick have got 3 points, Forest have got 3 points, and Clark have got 3 points.
In terms of performance.
Turriff have got 3 points as well. I mean, that's the bit, and performance is great, you know, they did well at Banks D, did well against Rothes last weekend, but it's points that get you up there. So if you're looking at a start line, I'll have to disagree with you and say no, to be honest. But I mean, this is a wee bit again of the test. Can they go and follow up with another good performance against Forest, which will potentially, you know, give them the reward with 3 points. It's interesting actually this game coming so early, because it's only about a month ago that these two sides, that these two sides played in pre-season. I know results in pre-season don't mean anything. I think Nairn won 1-0 that day, but it's kind of strange, you know, that they obviously had arranged a friendly or whatever, played each other, and then, you know, third week of the season you're back at it. Generally, teams probably wouldn't have, you know, not every manager would probably be too keen on that perhaps, but we'll see.
We'll see how it compares. Strathspey against Devon Vale. I mean, Devon Vale will just be looking to build on their win last weekend, won't they? And Strathspey will be smarting from letting the game against Formartine get away from them to the extent they did.
That's probably a fair. So I'll agree with you this time out respect, but no, that's fair enough. The thing, if you're Strathspey, can you make it more of a game? You know, they conceded 4 the first weekend, conceded 6 at Formartine. Stay in the game for longer if you can. Ben Cullen got his first goal for the club last week, and he was a player that was highly rated within junior circles when he was at Dufton last season. So potentially the likes of him and Owen Loveland, who they've got on loan for Elgin, Liam Taylor that they managed to loan from Clark, these sort of forward players, if they click and they start doing what they're capable of, then Strathspey can cause problems.
The second of our highlights games this weekend, and the final game we're going to discuss is Turriff United against Keith. Cheeky tenner on Aaron Reid to score in this one, maybe?
Don't think he'll get long odds, to be fair, but the way he started the season, you wouldn't have really bet against him, would you? But it's, I mean, the thing that probably helps as well is I think Turriff, maybe with the balance to their team they've got now, probably creating a few more chances than they did at points last season, but he has also shown, to be fair to him, that he's quite capable of sort of carving out chances himself, just with the way he's sort of able to kind of hold off defenders and things like that. So it'll be interesting. I think because Keith really probably quite keen to try and get a point or 3 points on the board as soon as possible. You know, they've had a bit of a frustrating start really. With, you know, they've lost heavily to Brora on the first day of the season, lost in the Aberdeenshire Cup, then things maybe went against them a wee bit, missed penalty, etc. at Wick last weekend, but can they go and sort of stamp their authority on this game and get something out of it and sort of show that they're still, you know, going to be a competitive outfit this season?
I suppose Turriff still remain quite a young squad, and this is a chance for them to show that they've maybe got that consistency this season, isn't it? Because the way they've started, you'd probably have them as favourites, being at home as well, to win this game, but it's whether they can go out and do it.
Yeah, that's it. Can they go and prove themselves again? Because as we've said before, when you're quite a youthful side, you will get weeks where it just doesn't go for you really, and you'll be on the wrong side of the scoreline. But the question is there if they can do it, and they've still, I'm not sure if they'll quite make it, but they've still got Liam Strachan and Andrew Watt both potentially to come back into their side, who, Liam in the middle of the park and Andy Watt either at centre half or in the middle of the park, both important players for Turriff, both leaders if you like, and good on the ball, and kind of make Turriff tick really when they're playing well.
Right then, well, that's another Friday preview show, all the games discussed. Another weekend of Highland League action ahead of us. We'll see you Monday for Highland League Weekly, for 2 highlights games as well as reaction from the big game. Enjoy the football.